Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join us in the abandoned wilderness of Scotland here. And today we've come up Glenshee and I've just stopped at this. This used to be the Spittal of Glenshee. Like, there was a little petrol station and a pub and like a hotel and stuff here, and it was a real popular spot with like the skiers and stuff like that at Glenshee. And now look at it, it burnt to the ground a few years ago. The building's just like a former shell of itself. Like, it's crazy to see. I remember years ago when we first passed our driving tests, we all used to come up here, and I remember stopping here to get petrol. It was the sort of little petrol station you had to go to the bar at the pub to get somebody to come out and fill your car for you. Yeah, it's such a shame to see it. Places like this change over the years, folks. But yeah, I'm way to head on up now Glenshee. It's one of my favourite abandoned locations. I've been to it a couple of times on videos over the years, but we're going to head up to the little military pillbox on the hill because it overlooks this crazy landscape here at Glenshee. Yeah, it's a cool little spot. I think a few years ago that was like the sort of place you could get in for a proper look, but now it's getting redeveloped. So yeah, we'll head on with this adventure. So here we are folks, we're now at the second location in this video, and it is a bit more windy here than what I expected. Look at this view of Glenshee here. This is the main car park here just before the ski centre, and this is the very steep hill that you come up when you're driving towards this place. But we're about to take this track up the hill to the abandoned World War II location, folks, so I'll update you once we're further along out of the wind. This is such a crazy spot, folks. It's overgrown at this time of year. Oi! That's the warning call. If anyone's in here, any animals, see, we'll have to watch out, folks, because there could be like snakes, adders even up here on the hill coming in. It looks like the situation's all clear. And how cool is this for a bit of World War II history, folks? Way up on this wild hill. I didn't record much as I was walking up to this place because it was like so windy out there. But this was like one of my favourite military pillboxes, so I like to come out at different times of the year just to see what like, because the landscape's so incredible. That just looks epic. There's actually tank traps down there, which is another bit of World War II history. They were designed to like keep the enemy from going into the blind spot of the hill. Wow, what a spot this is, folks, though. Check it out, just a bit of history. I think built by the soldiers or whatever here to defend that main road across Scotland in the war. And this internal wall wasn't only for strength, it was there to protect from blasts, if there was explosions and stuff, and also if bullets came in, it would stop them ricocheting and hitting too many people. So it was like multi-purpose, the internal wall, the strong structure of it. The odd, like the acoustics in a place like that are just insane though, folks, with the echoing. That's how I've come here to speak to the video. It's been a bit better. But I love just thinking like how long this has stood here on the wild hill, the conditions it puts up with, the story of history that it can tell, folks. The defence of the country at one time, when there was a threat of invasion, even away up here in the wild hills of Scotland. Okay, and it's just every direction around here, folks. The hills are just massive. On a day like this, the grass is actually wet. And that's just because of the environment up here on the hill. It's crazy. Like moist hilltop environment, folks. And on the highest hills at the other side, the clouds are actually over them. what a scene. The shape of all this cement and stuff was defensive, so that like it was hard to shoot into the bunkers, but obviously easy to get a wide range of shooting out. You can see on the roof, folks, they've had like boards with plastic over it when they've poured the cement, and then they've obviously taken that away, and then I think they've built this inner wall at a later time after they constructed the whole bunker, but there'll be thick metal rebar throughout that cement. And there is big stones in here as well, but honestly I can't see any stones missing from around the edges. There's small sections like that chipped out, but these are some massive stones, maybe being brought in from the hill. Maybe even if somebody's been camping here at one time or something. Yeah, I just love like the wee nuggets of history like this. Sometimes even if you've been somewhere before, you come back and you notice a little detail. Yeah, it's cool. And yeah, I'm going to move on to other places. I think this video is going to be cool little just nuggets of history along the way on my little Glenshee road trip here, folks. There's a cool little architectural detail there, folks. This little step, which is at this one, and also this window here is higher, and that'll be because the lie of the land here, they were trying to see a different aspect of the land down there. So it's crazy, those hills at the far side, you can see the peat bogs on the top of them. It's like black holes. Wild hilltop environment. Yeah, I just went around and got some photos of this. It was cool to see it again, and it's always cool to document more history, folks. So let's head on with this adventure. We'll take a walk right around the front of this bunker now. But yeah, it's epic scenes. It's a bit windy out here, so yeah, I'll try and cover the mic a bit. I'm not even sure where I'm going to go next on this video, but it's often cool just to stop places when you notice them. Just check this out, folks. Imagine the machine guns firing out the front of this thing. If tanks or anything had come up this road. It used to be a famous bit of road down there called the Devil's Elbow, and those tank traps down there are still beside an old part of the road. But yeah, it was notorious because it was like a hairpin sharp corner. Look at this here. Epic from the outside, folks. Anyway, let's head on. Look, the heather's starting to come out now on the hill. Pretty soon everything will be purple on these hills. Oh, I love how it looks with the aspect of the hills, different like distances away with the fog in front of them. Anyway, folks, I'll update you once we're further on this adventure, because it's too windy when we're out here on the hill. Just check it out, we're once again in a wild landscape, and it's just crazy. I love when there's just bits of history like that hidden in the middle of wild landscapes. It's almost just forgotten. One day it'll all just fall down, because this is such like a boggy hill, it's soaking on the feet. But it's crazy, even in the summer a place like this is wet. It's just the climate. We're so high in the hills here, it's just a madness. And it's always mind blowing to see the landscape like this, with the hills disappearing right up into the clouds. Alright then, folks, location number 3 in this video, and we're still in Glenshee. And just check out the view here, folks. Wow. It's incredible with the massive hills, and it's almost like mist in the air today in the distance. There's kind of a drizzle in the air, but we're out here recording these adventures, folks. Regardless, we're keeping the adventures coming on the channel. And just check it out. This is such a cool little waterfall that we're going to look at. Wow. Check this out, folks. Little birds, look. I don't even know if that came out on the camera. They must live under this little bridge. At one time this bridge would have been half as wide, and then it had been changed. Like, they made it wider when they made the road wider. Wow, I love the scene. The way this little waterfall comes over the edge of the rocks here. That's how I thought it's worth stopping. It's been ages since I checked out this waterfall. One time I went all the way to the top of the hill here to see the source of this waterfall, and it just comes from a peat bog. There's just nothing on top of the hill apart from a peat bog. So this is literally the coolest bit of it down here. Check this out, folks. This is a true scene of wild Scotland right here. The purple heather's out all over this hillside here. And just check out the way the water comes down the side of these rocks. It must have been crazy when they carved this road through the rugged landscape. Probably a lot of these country roads would have been dirt tracks, and then eventually they got paved over. Look at this. It's actually worn the slot right down here through the fissures in the rock, folks. Wow, it's a crazy scene. I love seeing that with like waterfalls and crazy bits of the landscape just carved by nature. And it's crazy to think there's probably bedrock faces like this under the ground all around us, but it just happens to be this one's been exposed by the water washing away the surface layer. I'm going to try and cross over here, folks. Look, it's almost clogged up the waterfall here with pebbles. Wow, it is epic. When I drove past, oh, I need to stop saying it's epic on videos, folks, because I say it too much. When I drove past and saw this, I just thought it's definitely worth coming to see it. I can hear these little birds total tweeting the whole time up here. They're probably nesting in the grass. I see them fleeing around. Crazy, folks. Anyway, we'll go down here, look at the bridge, and then we'll move on. It's a crazy mixture of Glenshee wonders in this video so far. Little nuggets of kind of landscape and history up here. It's just magical. If anybody comes to places like this, they hate to play it safe, like, because it is a dangerous landscape. And I can't believe today how absolutely soaking it is underfoot here. Check this out, folks. We're underneath the bridge here, and look, you can see it. It's had parts added onto it both sides at one time, because you can see the narrow original stone construction in the middle. A cool feature as well, you can see there's a small like side bit that must have been there before they built all the rest of this. It's just been left in there. Wow, just shows you how much wider the road is nowadays compared to years ago. The whole base of this bridge here has been built with stones. Probably so it doesn't clog up as much as it would have done at one time. Wow, there's some mad little creatures flying about around here, like. Some crazy fleeing beasts. Wow. I'm not sure even where I'm going to head on up. Spontaneous adventures once again, folks. Pathfind my way through this wild landscape. Wow. And then just check this landscape at this side. Wow, it's like walking about in a Scottish postcard, folks. Look at this, folks. This cool little bridge is just hidden in the wilderness here of Scotland, and it's crazy. It's just hidden in Glenshee here at the main road, and I just thought it's worth documenting it. You can't actually get a good angle of it from here though. This is another little snippet of Glenshee history here on this adventure. Yeah, check it out. It's had actual reinforcements put into it at one time. It's super narrow, and I'm thinking it wouldn't have had these railings at one time either. Wow, what a cool bridge. What a cool view that is, looking up Glenshee. That's why it's worth coming on these adventures, folks, for views like this. And I do apologise if there's any rain on the lens. It's part and parcel sometimes of these crazy adventures, like all weathers. There's a better view of that old bridge, folks, with the willow herb in front of it flowering with a purple flower, and the rainy hills disappearing into the clouds in the background. It's the spirit of Scotland up here, folks, and it is an amazing explorer. But yeah, that's a cool angle of the bridge. Look at this, folks. We're now at the next location in this video, which is the Glenshee Parish Church, which is an ancient little church here in the Glen. I've never even driven past here before. I can't even remember of seeing this little church before, so I thought I would stop and look at the view across the Glen. That's pretty much the Spittal of Glenshee there, where we started the video. So let's go and have a look and see if there's any old graveyards. Gravestones, I mean, folks. Check out this, the trees busted the fence when it was growing. It's actually split the cast, or the old iron piece. A lot of these grave sites had fences like this to defend the graves. In the day of the grave robbers, sometimes when a body was freshly buried, it would like get dug up, and people would sell the corpses for like medical research at a certain time. And then once the body had been buried for a certain amount of time, they didn't have to defend it the same, because it was no use to anybody. Look, this stone here stood out to me as I was walking across because of the carving. Look, 1828. Wow. 1897 is the earliest date on it there. The latest date, I mean, sorry. So it's an ancient stone here in this churchyard. It's just random, folks. I've been up this glen a lot of times, and it's just crazy often to get a wee snippet of the history of a glen from a graveyard. And wow, look at the carving on the back of this gravestone here, folks. Back in the 1800s, they didn't just make plain things, they spent their time carving it. A scene like that, folks, it's got so much character in. Look at the wee church bell up there, actually. It's a little bell with a chain coming down on the outside. Let's take a look over here. Oh, there's the river. Check that spot out there. There's actually a road going up there. Cool little river spot. It's often, you can often find new places to explore when you go somewhere. And like, yeah, there's somewhere. One day I'll have to go on a river adventure up that way. Check out this old gravestone. It caught my eye when I was speaking to the camera there, folks. Look at this. That is truly ancient right there. Often the stone carving techniques back in those days, if that is, it looks like it says 1788, and if that is that old, it's just incredible to imagine that ancient history here in the graveyard. Look at this, some of the graves are just like on their back. Don't know if it's fallen over or if it was one of those sort of tombs which are set like that. Yeah, sometimes you had to pay extra to get carved on, so they wrote less things. Wow, I don't even know what sort of rock that is. It's like got quartz seam and stuff in it. Incredible history, folks. 1788 potentially. We've seen an ancient gravestone here. See, there's big stones in the ground like this, and that could even be ancient graves as well that are just like forgotten, unnamed. There might have been an ancient carrick here in the glen before this one was built. Yeah, there's actually more history in this graveyard than what I originally even thought. So look at this. The crazy carved gravestones that you find so often in Scottish graveyards. Very similar carvings I've seen at places up the glens at like Invermark. Like 1816 that is there. Now look at this one, it almost looks like a Pictish stone, folks. So ancient. Wow, unfortunately if the stone lies on its back like that, the weather will take effect on it and it'll get eroded from the weather faster. I think that's the most ancient ones. There's one last one over here we'll take a look at, folks. Look at this here, folks. 1782, I'm sure it says down there. I can hardly even get an angle on it. Can you see that there, folks? 1782, I think it says. How crazy is that? If there is actually a gravestone from 1782. I was just angling the camera back there. Wow. Crazy history, folks. Anyway, the rain's on right now. It's been a crazy Glenshee adventure. We've seen a couple of new things, and we've seen a couple of things that we'd seen before. But yeah, it's often cool just doing that, a wee road trip along a glen or something, and just see what you can record along the way. Little bits of forgotten history documented and remembered. And maybe in a few years, when stuff falls down and degrades, videos can be the last thing where you can see how it looked. It makes a typical graveyard noise for the gate. It's like that eerie squeak of the dry hinge, folks. Anyway, that's been something different. We've had a look around at Glenshee, documenting a few little nooks and crannies of Scotland here, some unseen history, but yeah, it's come to an end. I'll end it here. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll catch you very soon with the next adventure, wherever I end up going.